We're looking at the Unforgiven. It's going to sound something like this. And then the song develops into quite a long, I think it's almost 6 minutes, heavy rock song with electric guitars, overdrive. But for this study, we're looking at the basic acoustic intro, just this part. We're just going to look at that. Now we're first going to take you to the chord shapes, the A sus2 and the A minor. You can already see the first fingers moving there. And let's just introduce those chords to you, and then we'll take the picking pattern and work it from there onwards. Nice bird's eye view, A minor, fingers 2 and 3. Looks like an E minor, just on the wrong strings, eh? And then if you bring the first finger onto the second string, this is A minor. So A minor, A sus2, and sus is an abbreviation for the word suspended. So A minor, A suspended 2, A sus2 for short. So nice easy transition. Later you're going to go to a C, also a nice easy transition. So for this song, basically, your fretting hand shouldn't be working very hard. We're now going to zoom in on your picking hand. We're going to see what the picking sequence is going to look like for that. We're going to start by resting my ring and pinky on the soundboard of the acoustic guitar. This, by the way, sounds pretty cool on electric as well. So if you've got an electric guitar, do it. It's going to sound just as neat. And for this fingerstyle, we're going to divide your guitar in half. The thumb is going to play the top 3 strings as necessary, strings 4, 5, and 6. And your first finger is going to play string 3, 2, and 1. Now, some purists would prefer to maybe use your first finger for the third string, middle finger for the second, ring for the first. I'm okay with that as well. But because of the rhythm for this song, I found it more easier, more flowing to play like this. And you'll notice that my hand over here isn't working very, very hard. That is the important thing. One more time, you're going to start off, if you're looking at your tab, which I hope you have in front of you, your A sus2 chord should start off like this, plucking strings 5 and 2 at the same time, and then you're plucking first finger on the third string, thumb on the fourth, first finger on the second, first finger on the third, fourth, and you repeat. And after 3 of those, you hear the difference there? This note became that note. That's when the A sus2 changed to A minor as shown on your PDF. But let's zoom out a bit. Let's get your fretting hand back into the picture as well, and we can see the two. We've got a nice clear view now of the fretting hand, got a nice clear view of the picking hand. And I'm going to take the first bar through slow motion. I'm going to count it in, so if you want to play along with me, you can. 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice over there at the end, the zeros, the open second string becomes a first fret on the second string for the A minor. And you'll look at your PDF, you'll see that the A sus2 has got the 0 on the second string. A minor becomes a 1. So that's the changeover that we were talking about earlier. Now let's look at the first and second bar. The only real difference is you lose one of the zeros and you get an extra 1 at the end to compensate for the 0 you left out. So if you play the top 2 bars together, you're going to have something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can hear the A minor came in 1 bar earlier, and we lost an A sus2 for that. We got that. Now, when we go to the second line, third bar, all that's really happening there is every time you lose a 0, in other words, the A sus2 is cut short, the A minor is again earlier, but then at the 4th bar, you'll notice that the 4th bar and the second bar is the same. So that means your A sus2 regains that 0 it lost, and the A minor loses 1. So listen carefully between those notes that I'm highlighting now. Okay, listen for those notes, play along with me, and we're going to do the first 4 bars. Make sure that you're changing at the same time as me to make sure we got the same changes at the right time. Are we ready? 2, 3, 4. That should be your first 2 lines, the first 4 bars. Now the 5th bar, beginning of the 3rd line, is identical as the 3rd bar, which is the 2nd line on our present PDF. So that's repetition, so we got that part. Now the first 5 bars is all basically A sus2 and A minors, and the 6th bar now is going to sound like this. And you'll notice there's quite a big timing change. In fact, if I play the entire 3rd line, in other words the 5th and 6th bar, you can actually hear the transition, the change in the rhythm. Let's put those 2 bars together. We're going to play bar 5 and 6, which is your 3rd line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And pay attention to the PDF, look at the gap. So if you're looking at the 6th bar, it's 0, 2, 2, open, 1. And the physical spaces between the numbers are large. But the 3, 2, 1, where it says C, you'll notice the numbers are close together. So if the numbers are close, they're quick. If they're far apart, they have to wait a bit. But if you're not sure, but you can count 1E and E, 2E and E, 3E and E, that's basically that 1E and E, 2E and E underneath. That is your rhythm counting for those of you that are good with counting. Or else you can just play along with the video and listen carefully for the rhythm. Let's do that 3rd line one more time, play along with, and then make sure you get the timing for the 2nd half of the 3rd line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we go to the 4th line, the 7th bar, it says NC. So NC is an abbreviation for no chord. So they're not playing a suspended 2, they're not playing an A minor, they're not playing a C. There's no physical chord shape, although this is pretty much a G chord, but it's not G as we used to playing it like that. It's just basically the one note. And if you're coming from the C, the best way for this song is to simply move that ring finger up. So as you're finishing off the 6th bar, and you've done that, it's going to sound something like that. Now, you've got the picking pattern, so I'm going to redirect the camera more onto the fretting hand again so we can see the finger movements for the next part. That's quite important coming up now. Remember, your fretting hand mustn't be moving much, so the movements for this fingers must be very graceful, very small. Now, the last, when it's got that C of the 6th bar we were talking about, and it changes to the NC in the 4th line, all that happens is watch the movements. You can see there's my C. When I change across, I lose 1 and 2, and the 3rd finger goes to the top. And you can hear the strings and you can read the tabs, which will take you and make it sound like that. After that, you're going to have, that's nice and easy, and then there's a whole lot of 2s. Now, for those 2s, your first finger is now going to move onto the 2nd fret, strings 4 and 3, flatten the finger. So if this finger is touching the bottom strings, that's cool, as long as I can hear that string and that string. That's all I want to hear, because those 2s should sound like this. Now on the PDF there's a little H and there's a tiny red 2. H stands for hammer on. So I pick, that's the 2nd fret, and I hammer on the 3rd finger. So you can see I didn't pick the 2nd note, but it must be quick. It must sound like this. That's what the small 2 means. That small 2 means go from the 2 to the hammered on 4 as insanely fast as you can. And you're going to have, and that last 2 is the beginning now of your 8th bar. Now, To get this all tied up, I'm going to go back to the third line, the SS2, and we're going to play through bars 5, 6, 7, and we're going to finish on the last 2 of the 8th bar, just to get everything working. Are we ready? SS2 in position. 1, 2, 3, 4. From that, back to an SS2, into the C shape, and then you're onto the next line, which will be NC again for no chord, remember? N for no, C for chord, because this, and now in the beginning of the video I did this because I think it sounds cool, okay, and I'm convinced that somewhere along the line Kirk Hammett does actually do that as well. I don't know if I heard it live somewhere, so I'm not entirely convinced he goes all the time. I prefer the sound of, and all that's happening there is 1, hammer onto the 3, pull off to the 1 which is not written on the tab, and pull off onto the 0. So I'm making a bit of a change to the tab, okay, and then your third finger for the 3 on the 6th string, and then the pinky gets involved for the 3 on the 2nd string. Then the first finger comes into play, 4, 1, 2, 4, and then you're back to the A sus2, and this should sound familiar. And you're back to basically what you started with. Now if you've got all those parts together, you should be able to play the whole song through. I'm going to take it one more time in slow motion so you can play it through with me. I'm just going to change the direction of the camera so you can see both picking and fretting hands together, and it's going to sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, please feel free to contact me. And yes, there are other guitar parts going as well. There's an electrical guitar coming in. And from this particular page you definitely have to have an electric guitar, otherwise it won't work. But I hope you enjoy this. It's a really nice, peaceful, rustig finger picking style. Have an awesome week. Enjoy. Thank you.